All right, hey everybody, this is Keisha Mathis here from South Atlanta High School. I am about to start recording. This is my professional learning for my STEM project that we are using. The first AI tool that I would like to use for this project is using Desmos. Now the STEM project for 12th grade is going to be influence, and how does influence of the community affects our rates. So one thing that I want to start with is making sure that we're all in consensus of what is actually happening when we're looking at the rates. So for monthly payments, it's going to be a different formula from what we've been using with compound interest. And the difference is how long it's being compounded for, and it was how long it's going to be compounded for over a course of time. So the only difference in buying a car with compound interest and buying for monthly payment for a house is it's really the amount and what is it factoring down to. Now, one of the biggest discrepancies that I know that students have when doing compound interest is actually understanding what goes with it and substituting into the formula. So with the anchor charts for compounded interest, I tell them what the total is. I give them the principal. I have my rate, and I typically tell them that the rate is the percent. The number of times it's compounded and the time which is given for the actual interest of the loan. Now, the only difference with compounded and monthly payments is that the denominator is going to actually consist of the same numerator of that rate. So I want to make sure that we are good. So one thing that I know that my students have a deficit in is reading money. They can call and recognize the numbers, but they still struggle with a basic concept as of rounding. Now, I do know that Desmos will actually round things for them, but they have to know how to insert and put these numbers in our calculator. So I want to start out by buying our dream home. Now, most students, when they're buying their homes, they're only looking at that base pay. The house costs $300,000. How can I make this simpler where that they will know exactly, okay, if I get a house number, how can I calculate my own monthly payment? And it's a very easy process if I can utilize my AI tools. So first thing I'm going to do is, here's an example here, but what I want to do is walk through one with you. So the first thing I'm going to say is I'm going to ask Desmos to round this for me, and I'm going to open up a parenthesis. Rounding it, I'm going to tell it at the end of me inputting all of the information that I'm going to round to the second decimal place, because I want to make sure that the students are reading the cents. That's something too that they don't really recognize. So from here, the first thing I need to do is make sure that I want to make sure I have my numerator and my denominator, so you need one big fraction. So I go here, divide. That's the divide, I can't see. So let's get right, it's 250,000. 25, 250. And let me just read you a question that I'm actually about to do. I'm gonna change his name and make it Jonathan. Jonathan plans to buy $250,000 for a mortgage lending to purchase a new home. He's financed. He's agreed to pay $1,500 a month for 30 years to repay to the lender. So we want to make sure, or I would want to verify, is this $1,500 a month enough? Now, in this ideal market that we're currently in, $1,500 for a $250,000 house, your mortgage should be about $2,000. So I would want to know with this $1,500, what is Jonathan putting down? Does that make sense? To be able to calculate monthly payments. Now, I'm going to keep all my other rates the same. They said that Jonathan pays this much. I'm gonna open me another parenthesis because I have a fraction there, and I want to make sure that my fractions are done separately. So whenever we're inputting any type of fraction, I always try to make the kids remember to put parentheses around it. So Are you guys' kids good with percents? Like, would you tell them to break this down into a decimal, or would you have them just like convert it?
I would have them converted.
You have them converted? And the reason being is because that was something that I noticed that the students, some, yeah, they struggled. Some did it and some didn't.
I usually have them converted when we annotate, because we usually annotate first, like, what's the principal, what's the rate.
Okay, so
and
you,
so like, the rate, being at that rate is 4.5%, I have them converted to 0.045.
Okay.
Start.
so that would be something that, would you do that separately or would you include it? Because,
I mean, it's kind of part of the process, it's like the beginning.
in the beginning,
You setting yourself up. That's the annotation piece.
how did you do it last year when you did it, Clark?
Once they label everything, so almost the same.
Almost.
Label everything, once they, get the percentage divided by 100.
Divide, okay.
I
Okay,
usually just have them move the decimal space, two spaces to the left, because the division confuses my group,
okay, and your group is,
small group.
and you're interrelated.
Yeah.
Okay, so depending on the levels, I would wanna make sure that so I do know I may have students that are,
Of course, introduce them to both, but just
Both.
depends on what they're comfortable with.
okay. So, because I know my GNA students, most of them would convert, but I had a few that, but that's small group, that's something that can be organized, and I can do a small group and actually move because as we have to try that. So I'm just gonna convert, I caught it with myself, because we move the decimals in our head.
Yeah,
Right.
And it comes second nature for us. I just didn't catch that I had 2 or 3 kids that didn't remember this in my gen ed classes. So I'm gonna go with a 0.45. 0.045, sorry. And we'll close this. No Keisha. I need to go division again. Here. And I need to do that 12 months. Now, for me, I do annotate for the students, so they need to list all of the things that are being given to them, because those are all key things. Close my parenthesis. Now, the numerator parenthesis is very much easy because it's just 2 parts. The denominator is what's confusing the students because they need to know that the first parenthesis is 1 minus, and then I'm gonna open the parenthesis again to do 1 plus. Now, why is this different? When they were doing the car loans, you don't have to, like that, inside the parentheses, 1 plus R over N. I taught my students to do that on its own. That was a separate step when I did my rounds. And what it was, it only gave me, so breaking this up, how I would do it is, this is 1 step. This is the same as that, so they have that part. I go ahead and add 1 to it, that's the second step.
Gotcha, okay.
Then we raise it to the power of, we raise it to
Raise it to the
the
power.
power of 72, but it's
yeah.
negative.
Yes.
Now, I don't know, did your kids catch that negative sign up there?
Well, like I said, we didn't get into the negative part, we just did the compound, so it never was negative. Okay.
But when you get to the card, it starts off with the price and it
Going down.
subtracts, yes.
So yes.
Okay. So, same thing, whatever we would get, now this right here, I would just have my kids solve for on its own.
So I have introduced them to that, but again, I don't like to confuse them. Sometimes they get a little, confused with the steps, so I just try to keep it as close to the formula as possible. But depending on your group's level, I would suggest this also.
So the only reason why I did it by parts is so that the kids can catch which part they did.
Gotcha.
So before we just go in and I just teach them how to put all of it into decimals, what I would do is, okay, what is 0.045 divided by 12? And that gets that number. From there, they're substituting it into 2 places, here and here.
So you would do this after the annotation piece?
Yes. And after I would do that part, I would then go and add 1 to it. Because that's this part right here.
So it would be 1 minus,
Right,
point zero zero,
One point.
One-
1.00375.
Right.
Yes. Okay. So this number, I'll just show you how simple it makes it look with the kids. So sometimes they get confused or they don't use enough of the fractions because they need to hit that button 3 times, but it's in 3 different parts, and you have parentheses in it. So they have to get a procedure, and I tried to simplify the equation as much as I could, where this equation that I use for monthly payment can be used if I'm buying a car or if I'm buying a house. It's the same formula. So I'm just gonna put that 0.00375 to just, raise this to. To make it round, I need to put the comma there and tell it which place I want it to round to.
The apple on inside.
I left let's see, right here.
Put parentheses around the 0.0. So it's something with the parentheses, so this can come off.
Take out,
That, so now the fraction is going to a parentheses.
no, take out that parentheses at the bottom, the one before the one. So go to the bottom of the number there. Take out the,
There it is. So it's a parenthesis that needs to go bigger.
It's good now.
So let me see something. This comes back out. Okay. So my parentheses was a big thing. 0.075. Do you see the difference in my equation?
It looks less
It's clean.
intimidating.
I didn't get that answer. Oh, never mind. You know what? I thought we started with 200.
Yeah, we did, but I was trying to see why my first example,
Okay.
why it didn't happen. So this house was just $43,200, where we went to a regular standard house. So now if I do that at the same rate,
Alright, cool. That's what I got.
did you, now,
Yeah.
Would you- how much is his mortgage going to be now? Close to $4,000. So to explain to Jonathan that, hey, you can't buy that house at $1,500, something is gonna have to change. Either it's going to be, you're gonna have to give a bigger down payment, or you would have to either extend the loan longer than however the loan is being processed for, or honestly, that's really the only thing.
Stretch it out over a long period of time.
Yeah, a longer period of time, the down payment, those are the only 2 things that could possibly, because the rate is the rate. So how long you're gonna pay for it or how much you put down is something that cuts all of it. Now, with the kids, what I did learn when I was doing my rounds, simplicity. Simplicity is everything. Because I saw that I moved the decimal in my head. This is still more parts that they would have to do, so I tried to figure out what could I do to minimize some of those parts. The rounding was great. So it gives the students the exact decimal that they're supposed to be at,
So guess.
but it's no guesswork.
Mhm.
But going ahead and having them simplify those fractions, then they were able to see what it would be. Now, how do I use this as it pertains to buying a house and what we're using for our STEM project? Now, STEM for 12th grade, we talk about influence. Now, how do I want to show the students influence? So rates. What does their community, how does their community, sorry, we're recording, hey, Ms. Combs. So, in their community, I wanted them, I want you to just get in your cars, get on your school buses, and on your way home, I want you to tell me, what do you see? It's more so like a windshield view of what is in their neighborhood. I want you to list me pros, and I also want you to list me the cons. I want you to tell me how many dilapidated houses do you see? How many convenience stores do you see? How many gas stations do you pass? And then, what I want the students to see is to pick up value within their areas. A lot of the things that the kids pointed out to me is that we don't really have a lot of subdivisions over here. We have single dwelling homes, but we have a lot of apartments. That was a good, observation. But one thing that they also noticed is there has to be people buying and moving to our area because our sidewalks have been developed. We now have a bike lane that has been created on our streets. I don't ride a bike, but somebody in our neighborhood does. That they were okay with putting a whole lane for us. And then they also noticed that the golf course that's on Cleveland Avenue is also increasing. They're starting to see a lot more foot traffic over here. So these are all positive things. Something else that I told them that was positive within their area is that they live within the city of Atlanta. So the houses are considered a little bit more valuable. They are price point a little bit more because they're within the city. So within the project, the first thing I wanted them to do was the windshield. What do you see? What do you notice? What do you want? They gave me their pros, they gave me their cons. In this neighborhood, which is up and coming within the city of Atlanta, they noticed that this is a good area to buy because it's being developed. Now, something else I told them that will have to play a part, and we actually use what ChatGPT, and that will be the next PD. And I will show you guys actually how the students were able to break down, and we saw a snapshot of marital status, and as it pertains to zip codes, the schools that are pertaining to zip codes, the economic, the finances, like the average median income. We pulled all of that from the U.S. Census, but we used AI to configure all of our data. Cool. Great stuff, y'all. Thank y'all for taking the time with your lunch. I know you had to give me your lunch. Thank you so very much. I so greatly appreciate it. But we'll pick it up with chat for the next time.
All right.
Yep.